Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Shining Light video podcast show, where I shine a light on my guests and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. We're going live every Thursday at 1 p.m. I do this anyway, but this month is special. The month of October is very special. We have Leah Feldman here. Give a big wave to everybody, Leah. We have Leah Feldman here. She is the CEO of Family Services, and she has started a movement. Last year, she decided to run 50,000 miles, excuse me, 50 miles
Now
in
that
one
would be
day.
impressive.
That would be crazy. She decided to run 50 miles in one day to raise $50,000 for mental health and mental health awareness. She did that with a friend. It was just her and a friend. A couple of us all joined in and ran with her or biked with her. And this year, she has 5 ambassadors joining her for her 52-mile run that she will be doing on October 19th. Right now, the campaign is at $37,000, and we are looking to boost that to $40,000 to give a little bit of inspiration to Leah and her team of ambassadors. So visit the 52 End Stigma site in order to make a donation or join a team and join this cause. We're, like I said, joining you live every Thursday with a special guest. And today we have a very special guest. We have Jessica Pelletier. She's joining us today, and she's going to speak on some mental health issues that are affecting our communities. Jessica, welcome to the show today.
Thanks for having me, Michael.
We're very excited to have you here today because, as we know, mental health affects all of us in different ways. We had our police department come on recently and talk about how it affects the police in our community. We just had Lori from the Walkway Over the Hudson and speak about how great the parks affect mental health in a positive way. And I'd love if you can share your take on mental health and the needs that our community has.
Sure. So I've had the distinct pleasure of being the clinic director here in Poughkeepsie for Family Services. And not only have I enjoyed my time here doing that for almost 3 years, but I've been devoted and dedicated to the mental health field for 20 plus years. It's something that's both a professional passion of mine and a personal passion of mine as well. So one of the things that I would like to highlight most about mental health is the stigma that we all face. Why is stigma harmful? Several ways, and I can highlight a few for you. One, it prevents individuals from seeking help, right? With mental health stigma, there's a fear of judgment, discrimination that can deter people from accessing necessary mental health services, which leads to their untreated conditions. And it exasperates suffering as well. Stigma can worsen these feelings of shame, isolation, hopelessness, making mental health issues that much more severe and prolongs one's recovery. It also hinders opening up a dialogue about it, right? Stigmatizing attitudes can create a culture of silence, a culture of shame and disgust, right? Picture, the book that a lot of us read in high school, The Scarlet Letter. Someone carrying around that red insignia to, that you're shamed. Thing about mental health is, though, it's not so outward. It's not wearing a cast on a broken leg. It's not, carrying around an insulin, pump and reader. It's not the visible signs of chemo that one often faces when when you have cancer, losing your hair or looking slim and pale. It's it's inner, it's hidden, it's very concealable, which makes it harder for people to also go look for help because there's no scan for it. There's no blood test that says, okay, yes, you do have depression or you do have anxiety. And this stigma can really impact relationships with individuals, withdrawing from social connections or leading to increased loneliness and strained relationships with friends and family. So there is a lot of harm that can come from the stigma. And if you're willing to take a little dive with me, I would love to share ways that we can end the stigma, right?
Mm.
Talk, talk is the number one thing. The more that this becomes common language amongst all of us in our community, the less shameful it can be. Educate, aware, make people aware, promote mental health education, and dispel the myths and misconceptions that are, still kind of fluttering around out there. Knowledge is power. So empower those around you by, encouraging them to seek help and supporting them. Just opening up conversations in general, whether it's at a school or here at work or in a community. Normalize the topic, and it helps reduce the fear. And don't be afraid to share a personal story. When you share a personal story, that's the best way to normalize it, especially if you're talking to those that love you. Not only am I dedicated as a professional in the field, but mental health has also touched me and impacted me on a very, very deep and personal level as well. I would like to be transparent and share that I lost a family member a little over a year ago to suicide because he was ashamed and he was scared to get the treatment that he needed because of the ways that he had been stigmatized with mental health. So promote positive media representation. If you know someone that suffers, shout them out, give them grace, give them credit for the fight that they're battling silently every day. And if you're in a leadership role like me, let's work on our policies and practices. We can push for workplace and educational policies that prioritize mental health, you know, flexible work arrangements or good access to treatment. Become a leader. That's one thing that I love about the agency that I'm with now, Family Services, is this has always been on the forefront. We don't shy from it. We don't hide it, and we ensure that the people that work for us and with us have the same access to those services as the clients that we treat. So I challenge you to challenge the stigma, right? And let's look at intersectionality. For those that don't know what intersectionality is, it's the ways in the world that we present as, right? So if you're a white male suffering from mental illness, that's one thing that you have going on. But if you are a Black, female, queer, non-binary woman, there's all those different, ways that you intersect with the community as well. And it's really important to see that when you come to the world operating with more than one function, it can really muddy the water and make things a little bit more complex for you, right? One of my passions is working with the LGBTQIA population. It's been something near and dear to me for years. For those that don't know what that acronym stands for, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender. The Q can kind of flip for some people. It's either queer or questioning. I is intersex and A is asexual, right? Those that really experience no or little sexual attraction to anyone. But it can also be used, the A, as ally, in which is someone that, something that I really hope that all of us can kind of be is an ally to someone that is struggling. Because allyship it's a force to be reckoned with. When people come together and really wrap their arms around a cause, around an experience, around a person, so much more can be done. So I think it's a little bit about mental health stigma and the populations that I love to work with. If you have any questions, please throw them at me.
Yes, please.
You know, Michael, why I brought her on, isn't she something special with her expertise? I'm so honored to work alongside Jess. She teaches me something every day, and she didn't even go into just like her deep expertise in working with population that is very vulnerable and also in great need. And she's one of our most talented clinicians in the organization, and helping other clinicians through some really difficult situations and providing the highest level of care for the community. So Jessica, I thank you for lending your expertise today, but also to our clients every day. I mean, we're a better place with people like Jessica in it.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I mean, first of all, of course, we're all sorry for your loss
Thank
of
you.
your family member. First, want to acknowledge that. One of the things, if you can help briefly identify, you mentioned it with the Scarlet Letter, so I'm just going to kind of go back to some of the things that you mentioned early on, is what a stigma is. And you mentioned it with the Scarlet Letter of kind of carrying this around, but it came up again several times in this conversation so far. So if we could just kind of highlight what a stigma is, and then I have a couple other questions for you.
Sure. So stigma is any negative attitude, belief, perception that a society holds about a certain group of individuals or characteristics that these individuals may have. And what the result is from that is discrimination, social exclusion, lack of understanding and empathy, right? Empathy is
Mhm.
huge. And it can be associated with many factors. Mental health stigma, which we're going hard all the month of October to end, right? Sexual orientation and gender identity, which I briefly touched on. That's another way people are stigmatized. Race and ethnicities. Stigmas there can perpetuate stereotypes and discriminate against specific racial or ethnic groups. And then there's also physical abilities, right? People with disabilities also encounter stigma that affect their opportunities and the way they interact socially with others.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I think also when we understand this definition, then we could see the ways that we might be able to improve. And as you touched on, empathy being one of the great ways. Another way that you talked about improving the way that we view these different mental health stigmas, sexual stigmas, and gender or and race stigmas is through conversation. And so, as we kind of bring this meeting today to some sort of a close, I'm just curious on some of the ideas that you have for different organizations in business, of course, different schools. When we think about all of our different colleges, universities, and down to the high school and grammar school and elementary school levels. And then, of course, just in our communities of our chambers of commerces, of our associations, of the different ways that we all associate with each other. What are some of the ways that you feel or that that we can communicate better about these different stigmas or these different areas that are stigmatized, I guess is a better way of asking it. What are some ways that people can kind of open that conversation so that they can feel comfortable?
Sure. I think it's knowing your audience first, paying attention to where you are, whether you need a private space or if it's something you can do out in the open. Expressing your intentions is a really good way to kind of frame the conversation. Simply saying, I've been thinking a lot about mental health lately, and I believe it's important for us to discuss, or an easy open-ended question. How are you feeling today? I've noticed your mood is lower or your energy is lower. How are you? What's going on? Simple phrases, I see you, is huge, to just kind of get that ball rolling and be okay with being uncomfortable, right? And I know that sounds weird, but there is comfort in uncomfortability because that's where change happens and that's where the learning really happens. So share your own feelings and in your experience with it if you have some, right? I've been feeling a little bit overwhelmed lately and I just want to talk about it and come from a really empathetic and non-judgmental space. Be active in your listening and validate what that other person is saying to you.
Yeah, I love that you're saying that because I think the kind of the what I would call it as priming the person that you're asking of saying, hey, look, judgment free, I'm curious, or I want to help, or I see you, like you said. I think that by just letting them know, hey, there's no judgment here. I'm just curious. I want to help. I want to be a part of your life. I think is a big piece to it. So I love that you were able to share that. Intersectionality. That's another one that you brought up today that's kind of new to me, and I'm sure is new to a lot of the people in our audience here today. Could you just speak a little bit more about that? Because what you brought up there of now we have, as you said, you used the example of a white male. Much easier. I'm a white male. Much easier for me to just walk in a room and just be like, "Hey, how's everybody doing?" versus where you're talking about intersectionality, where I might have other things going on. And
Right.
now I'm assuming now, and I'm asking you to maybe elaborate on this. Now I'm walking in saying, how's everybody going? Is there judgment about me? Right? Is that
Yeah,
probably what's happening?
absolutely. So intersectionality is a concept that we use in the field that explores how various social identities, race, gender, sexuality, class, how they intersect and interact to shape one person's individual experience
Mm,
and how their dynamics are within society, right? So when you think about intersectionality, you're going to think about there's people that have really complex identities. For example, a Black woman may face discrimination differently than a white woman or a Black man due to her intersection of race and gender,
mm,
right? And with that is also overlapping oppressions, which comes kind of along with intersectionality, is where you want to acknowledge that there's various forms of oppression. Think of the isms: sexism, racism, homophobia, classism. And these do not operate independently from each other, and they lead to a really unique in existence and marginalization of these people.
mm. And so when we kind of identify that, and then you go back to where you were talking about policies and procedures and organizations and how obviously family services is well versed in all of this, what is a suggestion that you might have for, again, organizations that are out there and even families that are out there and being able to see this happening and how to maybe put something in place to be able to help these people and maybe overcome this stigma?
Sure. One thing to always keep in mind is the words inclusivity
Mm,
and advocacy. Intersectionality calls for a more inclusive approach in jobs, HR departments, social justice movements, wherever it is. But inclusivity will ensure that voices and experiences of these people are heard and considered. And when it comes to policy, understanding intersectionality is really essential in creating good policies that meet the diverse needs of individuals, and remembering that you really cannot operate on a one size fits all approach. So by recognizing the complexities and within these identities and how they influence our experiences of power and privilege, which is going to come up with intersectionality as well, it aims to foster a more just and equitable society or workforce.
mm. Obviously all very heavy stuff that we're talking about here. I feel that everybody watching right now and listening and catching this replay here has certainly been educated to be more aware, which is really the goal of all of these conversations that we're having on a weekly basis. And so to kind of just switch gears a little bit, going back to raising awareness for mental health this month. Of course, Leah is going to be running, and I'm curious, Jessica, you must have had a big hand in this. And I'm just curious on your role in family services, not in terms of your job title, but in terms of this 50 to end stigma. I'm sure there's a pretty cool story that has to do with this.
There is. So usually I'm not the best when it comes to fundraising type of things. I get really nervous to ask anybody for money. Um, but this is different for me. This is really different for me because of my family member, because of my own past and my own experiences. This hits so super close to home that I really just kind of dove headfirst into it. And I literally went through my entire contact list and said, "Hey, remember when we had that conversation about XYZ? Need your help. I need your help." And I was really vulnerable at one point, and on my private social media page, I shared a little bit about me and how this has impacted me. And I asked all those that love and care for me, just go check it out. If you do nothing else, just go to the my agency's website, check out this cause, see what we're trying to do, and tell somebody about it.
Mm,
And then I went a step further into the people that are really close to me. I was like, if you see someone that just looks off, do me a favor. Even if it's just for the month of October, say hi. Say hi and start a convo. So I've been really hitting the ground running. Me and Wendy Bianco, who also works with us, and she's amazing. Shout out to Wendy. we have been really motivating each other and being really competitive just with each other. Okay, can you get somebody else? Did you spread the word? Can you get someone to walk with us? And it's made it fun, but it's also really spreading the word to a lot more people than I thought it would reach. And I'm proud. I'm really proud.
Well, great work. You guys are really doing amazing work there. I've been on the walkway pretty much. I'm there at least 3 to 5 days a week at some point, and I've of course seen the beautiful stickers of "I see you" and "You can do this." And the cooler part now that I'm witnessing, outside of me seeing them all and taking some pictures and doing all that, is now I'm actually seeing people stopping and reading them and looking at them. So they're having that impact. It's really, really cool to see. And Jessica, you're having a great impact. You have a great impact on Leah, on family services, on all of the people that you're connecting with. And what I think everybody can take from what you just shared here is, I didn't hear you say, give me money. I didn't hear you say, donate. I heard you say, just take a look and spread the word. And that's what this is all about, is we're just trying to spread the word. We're not going to be able to solve the world's problems and these kinds of conversations right away. But by spreading the word, it does help put a dent in ending the stigma. I truly, truly believe that, by being able to educate us on, I learned a new thing today personally. By educating me on that and me learning about that, I'm going to spread that in my community and share that with the people that I know, and remove some of that ignorance to be able to help us move forward as a society. Leah, you are going to be running 52 miles this weekend. You're running 52 miles on Saturday. I was thinking about you because my daughter's a little bit under the weather recently. My wife kind of went under the weather a little bit recently. And I was just like praying for you, Leah. I was just like, I was praying for my wife too, but I was just like, man, I hope she's got all of the energy that she needs. Leah,
Yeah.
tell us, how are you preparing for Saturday? We're going a little bit long today, ladies.
Yes. Well, how could you not go along with hearing Jessica's expertise? It's just so amazing. Yeah. Thank you, Jessica, for sharing all that and for all you do. I'm just so honored and proud to be part of family services with, I like to tell my staff, they're just true life superheroes. I just watch in awe as they go out there and send up their signals and save the day. Like, it's really such a beautiful thing. So yeah, Saturday, the Wellness Warriors are taking some bold action. We have committed to running our 52 miles in one day, in recognition of the 52 million Americans who are faced with a mental health challenge, less than half of them who are receiving professional support, mainly due to the stigma that surrounds mental health care. And we believe that by taking this bold action and starting these bold conversations, that we're normalizing the discussion around mental health care and coming together as a region so that we all can thrive. And that's literally what we're doing. We are tying the region together. We're starting in Dutchess County. We're running over to Ulster County. We're bringing people along with us. I have there's 5 of us running the full 52 miles on Friday, but there's on Saturday, but there's plenty of people jumping in at different points to be part of it. So, and then across the month, over the month, there's hundreds of people signed up doing their 52 miles throughout the month. And that's, to me, is true movement. And that's what we need, is true movement to get the word out, and make sure that everybody has access to the care that they deserve. And that we truly believe that mental health care is a human right. And we're here to make sure everyone has that right. So I hope people will join us on Saturday. We are starting at 4 a.m. at the Arlington Fire District headquarters on Burnett Boulevard. And if you jump on our website, 50 to End Stigma, that's FIFTY, the number 2, endstigma.org, you can see different areas of the run. You can meet up with us, what time we plan to be there. Of course, something might go awry and we might be not there at the exact time, but if you get there, just wait for us. And we're really looking forward to seeing everyone. It's going to be a beautiful day. As last year it rained on me all day, this year it's going to be sun shining on me all day. I believe it.
I really hope that for you. I'm going to be part of your Ulster County Welcoming Committee. If anybody wants to join me, I'll be there at 5 a.m. Like you said, you'll be crossing the bridge around that time. So anybody want to meet me down at the Franny Reese Park, I'll be waiting there. Excited to see Leah and her team of ambassadors, the Wellness Warriors, you call them, right? To see our wellness. Wellness warriors crossing that bridge. Before we wrap up, Jessica, any final words, any final messages that you would like to share with everybody about mental health, about ending the stigma with our audience today?
Sure. To leave off, I would just say, just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not real and doesn't mean it's not impactful. And if you took anything away from it, talk. That's the only thing. Just talk to people. Just get out there and talk and be okay with hearing things that you might not know a little bit about, or that might seem a little foreign to you, because once you open up the door for a conversation, that literally can be the one thing that can impact someone's entire day and sometimes saves someone's life just by talking.
Absolutely. I just have to add this little piece here because this happened to me recently. I was walking and I saw this sign of a quote, and it was impactful to me, the quote. So I took a picture of it, and as I took a picture of it, a person stopped by and said, "Excuse me, can I get your attention for a second?" And I kind of looked at him and was like, "Huh?" Like I was really thrown off because I was taking this picture, and he just like tapped me and he started talking to me and he said, "That's my quote. That's me. That was me." And I said, "Oh wow." He goes, "Do you want to hear the story on it?" And I said, "Sure." So he starts telling me. And as he was telling me, he told me the whole story and he ended it with, "I just got into an argument with my wife. And I was walking down the street and just thinking like, I hope that like I can get a sign here of like that the world cares about me. And you took a picture of my quote and I thought that that was a sign, and that's why I tapped you on the shoulder. I'm sorry for startling you, but that's why I did it." And the story is actually a little bit deeper than that. I just want, for the essence of time here, I'm not going into it. But I think it's like what you just said, Jessica, in that it's just those little things, of those little acts that happen, of that, this person was experiencing some trouble in his family, and just by seeing somebody taking a picture of his quote, now it wasn't a conversation starter in the sense that I reached out to him, but by opening myself up by saying, "Sure, let's talk," even though I was kind of like going somewhere, it doesn't matter. We had that conversation and it came out, and then I met his wife and she was pregnant, and they're a beautiful family. But it all came from having that conversation. And so, I hope that it's definitely on a different level of what you're speaking to. But I hope that with what everybody's watching here and listening to, is that be available to those conversation starters. Be available to the people around you and listening to them and having those conversations. 5 minutes out of our lives isn't going to change much. So take those 5 minutes, ask how somebody's doing, take those 5 minutes, listen to their response, and you're going to be able to change a life perhaps. Leah, I got to give you also any final thoughts as well.
Well, I'll follow in the same what you guys have just been talking about. And one of the decals that we have up on the walkway says, "A simple hello can change a life." And I truly believe that. So we challenge everyone to say hello to someone today, give someone a smile today, acknowledge someone's existence today. You really don't know what your impact might be.
Yeah, fantastic. So, of course, I want to thank everybody for watching, and I want to let you know that we are going live again next Thursday. So even though Leah will have ran her 52 miles, we are still looking to raise over $50,000 to help end this stigma on mental health. This money is used at Family Services to support people like Jessica and her programs that she's heading there, that she's spearheading there, that Leah is spearheading at Family Services, and all the other community services that they're spearheading here in order to help end the stigma on mental health. So what you can do to do your part is, as Jessica said, simply visit the website. Just visit it. Just pop in, read the why, take a look at some pictures, take a look at some teams. 50, the number 2, endstigma.org. Join a team. And then, of course, if you feel so inclined, make a donation. Every dollar is going to help get closer to raising the awareness and finding some sort of solution for the people that are suffering from mental health. And we all are, by the way, on different levels. So just recognize that as well. Join us next week, as I was just saying, Susan Browning of the West. She's the Western Regional President for New Vance Health, and president of Vassar Brothers Medical Care Center, will be joining us and will also be speaking on the topic of mental health. Leah, you have all of our juju coming your way to run your 52. I will see you on the bridge. We'll talk, of course. Stay happy and stay healthy, everyone. Say hello to someone. Let them know that you see them. Thanks for watching today, and join us next week. Bye, everyone.